Hi everyone, my name is Nina Melendez. I am the virtual content specialist for multilingual learners and English language learners for mathematics grades 9 to 12. Today we're going to be looking at our Algebra 1 lesson, day 16, equivalent equations and functions. And for this, we're going to be looking at what is important to pay attention to when looking for solutions to equations, functions, and graphs. Now, we're going to focus on our Explore portion, our second slide of our Explore using Desmos, and our keywords and ideas for today are graphing quadratics, solutions, explain, and describe. So let's start by looking at our key vocabulary. Okay, looking at our key vocabulary. For quadratic functions, their solution lies where y equals 0. We can see this in the representation over here of solutions. When y is 0, we have our roots, our solutions are zeros, or our x-intercepts. And here we can see this is where the solution lies, and y is equal to 0 in both of them. Okay? So this is important because when we are solving for solutions, we must make y equal to 0. You can always pause this slide and copy it down. That way you can have it to refer back to your notes. And just as a review, remember, graphs can have 2 solutions, 1 solution, or no solution. Okay, so for today's lesson, we are going to be looking at our Explore. So once you complete the introduction launch, you're going to be doing this first portion of your Explore. It said, here is a list of possible solutions to the below equations. -9, -7, -6, -4, 0, 3, 4, 0, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. For each equation, find any values on the list that are solutions. Some equations have 2 solutions, some equations only have 1. So you're going to go ahead and work on this. We are going to be looking at the second slide of our Explore together. So our second slide of our Explore says, for each function, explain how it is related to the associated equation from the previous slide. Then it says, graph the function using Desmos. So we'll be using our Desmos graphing calculator. Describe where can you see the solution to each equation on its graph. Explain how the graph relates to the equation and the function. Now, important, on this side, you'll see the function, you'll see the equation that you saw previously. On this side, you'll see the equation from the previous slide. On this side, you are seeing the function that we are relating to it. Now, a good way to maybe reorganize this and look at this, I'm going to show you in the next slide. So here we have, let me change this color, what you had seen in the previous slide. So this is the equation from the previous slide. This is the equation. And here I have the function. Now it's asking you to describe. So first you are going to describe. After you describe, you're going to describe where you see the solution. After you describe it, you're going to explain how the graph relates. And then finally, I would say you can provide an image or link of your graph. That way people can see where your explanation came from. So you can go ahead and create this organizer in your notebook if it's not provided for you. That way you are able to really break down what you are seeing, what you are analyzing in this graph. So the first thing I'm going to do, there's going to be a video pop up. I'm going to go ahead and open Desmos and graph f of x equals x squared minus 36. Now, before we go ahead and graph it, let me see, how did I get from here to here? How did I get from here to here? So I see that I need to think about, wait, I just saw that this should equal 0. So for this to equal 0, what do I have to do? I would have to subtract 35, and using our inverse operations and our rules, whatever we do to one side, we do to the other. This 35 minus 35 is 0. And I'm left with x squared minus 36. So now if I'm going to input in the calculator, instead of putting 0, I'm going to put y equals, or f of x. We know that calling this function f is just calling it its name. Y equals x squared minus 36. So we're going to go ahead and graph that and see what we come up with. We're going to go ahead and graph that and see what we come up with. So once we graph it, we see that I see the solution at -6 and 6. I see the solution at -6 and 6. The graph relates to the relation and the function. So how does it relate? So this is a sentence starter for you. The graph relates to the relation and the function in that. So look at your graph carefully and see how it relates, in that they all have the same solution. Okay, so we have here, you should write down that your solution is x equals -6 and x equals 6. And I have here that these are the solutions from the graph. So I would use this type of organizer for the rest of the problems on that list, trying to see first what is the relationship. Remember, we're asked what is how it relates. We want to know the relationship between the equation here and the function here. After we find the relationship between those, we can go ahead and graph to find our solutions. And then you can explain how it relates. Then you can explain how it all relates. Take your time and ask your teacher if you need any help. Have a lovely day.